wait tonight.
Great, thank you, Liz.
Have to adjourn, Darius, from,
Yes,
Yeah.
executive session.
Take a motion to adjourn from executive session. Trustee Corrales,
second, trustee Cassell.
all in favor?
Great.
And Trustee Taylor will be joining us. The mayor's excused tonight as he is traveling. Welcome to Village Hall. Regular Board of Trustees meeting for December 13th. We'll come to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer by Trustee Cassell. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our last meeting of the year, so I'll try to keep this very brief, but it's very heartfelt. As we gather with our relatives, friends, and loved ones, may we all enjoy a happy, healthy, and joyous holiday season and a wonderful year to come. And in the words of Tiny Tim, God bless us, everyone. Amen.
Thank you, Donna. Great. Okay, we have just outlined the meeting a little bit tonight. We have a couple of appointments to the police department that we'll go through. We have one presentation. The presentation for Rivertowns Sq will not happen tonight, and we'll go through that a little bit. And then we'll have another appointment for Charlene, courtesy of the floor, and then matters requiring action. So I guess we start off with the good stuff out of the gate. Let me get my notes here. We have two individuals, Justin Muscarella and Robert Marin, that we'll be appointing to the Dobbs Ferry Police Department this evening to go through the academy. Justin is 28 years old, born and raised in Long Island, but did attend Mercy College, played baseball, and in 2010 earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice. He's a member of the Dobbs Ferry Fire Department, and he's currently employed by the Village of Sleepy Hollow Department of Public Works. In the past, Justin has worked for the Village of Dobbs Ferry in the Recreation Department and for the Police Department as per diem commuter bus driver. And Robert Marin, 34 years old, born and raised in Dobbs Ferry. He's a member of the Dobbs Ferry Fire Department since 2001. A lot of family in the village also. He's worked per diem for the Village of Dobbs Ferry as a school crossing guard. His full-time job is a police dispatcher for Westchester County Department of Public Safety, and he also helps here in Dobbs Ferry with that same job. Both of them have successfully completed all standard screening requirements, including an extensive background, investigation, and medical psychological screenings. All Westchester County Department of Human Resource requirements have been successfully completed. Therefore, the Chief would like to recommend that both Justin and Robert be appointed to the position of police officer with the Village of Dobbs Ferry Police Department at tonight's meeting to take effect January 3rd, 2017, 0 hours. So I'm going to ask each of you to come up to the mic. Justin, I'll start with you.
Yeah, we should, we want to take a motion
make a
first
motion
to appoint them each, and then you can do the swearing in.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Sorry to.
Okay, can we take a motion to consider a motion to appoint Mr. Justin Muscarella and Mr. Robert Marin as police officers for the Village of Dobbs Ferry for an annual salary of $50,000 each, effective January 3rd, 2017, 0 hours. Do I have a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second Trustee Cassell, all in favor? All right, now we get to Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to carry out the duties of police officer of the Village of Dobbs Ferry to the best of your ability? Congratulations.
I would like to thank everyone, my girlfriend, and my best friend over here, for that support. I look forward to helping protect and serve our farm community and live in, and do the best that I can.
solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to carry out the duties of police officer of your village of Dobbs Ferry to the best of your ability. Congratulations.
I'd like to thank all my family and friends for coming tonight. Tonight I have my parents, Edward and Marilyn, my wife Nicole, my brother TJ, his wife Karen, and our niece Avery, and as well as some very good friends in the back. I would like to say thank you to all the members of the board for this great opportunity. I look forward to working for the village as a police officer.
Fantastic.
For serving.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and welcome. It's great to have you aboard. Another couple of great local guys, and really look forward to it. Good luck with the academy.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you on the streets down the road.
It's okay.
Okay, great. So we were supposed to have a presentation by Rivertowns Sq, and possibly set a public hearing. Darius, if you want to give a little background on that for us?
Sure. Mr. Berger called earlier. They had their Christmas party tonight. He thought we were going to start at 6:30 and didn't want to miss his own company's Christmas party. So I'll give you a little background of where we are on this, and you can decide whether you want to set the public hearing for January 10th. A few months back, Rivertowns Sq came to the village. It was actually came here, and then we referred it to the planning board, who did, for site plan recommendation for some changes to the proposed site plan. They're very narrow issues concerning the small area off of Danforth Avenue. At the corner of Danforth and Livingston Avenue, the planning board recommended and you approved a construction of the building L, which was a 1,500 square foot building at the, let me get my bearings straight, the northeast corner of Danforth, no, I'm sorry, southeast corner of Danforth and Livingston. That building, when site conditions with construction happened, they indicate that it was a towering building and would not really fit in there. There was a proposal for a sort of a planter area to sort of corner that area, but it wouldn't loom over Danforth or Livingston. There was also a proposal, and the planning board worked with the developer to have a better connection between the parking lot above the grocery store and the cinema area, with a sidewalk, stairs, and a little seating area by the trellis. There was also a proposal to decrease the size of the trellis from 12 feet to 8 feet in height given the site conditions. Also a proposal to make the sidewalk in that area, instead of 8 feet, 5 feet in width. They indicate that would be consistent with the other sidewalks in the development. There was also some signage proposed. Planning board looked at this for a couple months. They had a site visit, and the stairs would go from, excuse me, thank you, Donna. The stairs would connect better the area of the cinema to the parking lot that were not there previously in the original site plan. Planning board had a site visit, I think it was on November 11th or 12th. It was an early morning. They went out and looked at the site and made some recommendations and some changes. They did ultimately recommend these changes to your board at their December meeting. We were going to have it on tonight so you can see some of the pictures and presentations, but unfortunately they're not here. There will need to be a public hearing at the Board of Trustees level, which will be noticed for whenever you schedule it, and comment from the public, and also many questions to be asked for you. I have asked for some color photos so you can look at it, which we will have provided to you. That's sort of the nuts and bolts of it, of the proposal. Procedurally, you could wait for the initial presentation and schedule a public hearing at that time, or you can schedule a public hearing for the January 10th meeting tonight. It's up to you.
Well, I would be more inclined, I think, to schedule the public meeting, because we do not have to close it on the 10th.
Right.
and we can just extend it if we don't feel we have enough information at that point in time from the presentation.
Good.
Okay? All right, so I guess I'd like to take a motion to set a public hearing for January 10th, 2016, to discuss changes outlined by the village attorney for Rivertowns Square. Anything else?
That's good.
Motion? Trustee Taylor? Trustee Corrales? All in favor? Okay, that's 6 ayes, 5 ayes.
We'll notice a public hearing in the newspaper for January 10th.
2017.
2017, thank you. You're right.
We
Okay.
will.
All right, our second presentation is to Scott Oling from PKF O'Connor Davies on the financial statements and supplementary information for fiscal year ending on May 31st, 2016. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening. As you said, I'm here tonight to present the results of the annual external audit that we conducted with the village's financial statements for the year ended May 31st, 2016. Hopefully everybody received a bound copy of the report. Had some FedEx holiday delivery issues, but I think everybody does have it. Basically, even though we prepare this report on behalf of the village, the part that really belongs to us is the auditor's opinion, which is right after the table of contents at the beginning of the report. We've issued what's known as an unmodified or clean opinion on the village's finances, meaning that we believe these financial statements fairly present what happened in the village financial numbers for the year ended May 16. If you turn to page 62, I'm just going to take a couple minutes to just discuss the general fund, which is your primary operating fund. And page 62 has the 2016 income statement for the village's general fund, and page 63 has 2015 as a side-by-side comparison. It's presented in 4-column format, 2 budget columns, an actual, and then a variance column comparing what actually happened to your final budget. The top third of the page are your revenue sources that were used to support your operations for your general fund. And you can see that originally revenues were estimated at about $15.5 million when the budget was adopted, primarily from the levy of property taxes, which you can see about $11.5 million of that number is from the property tax levy. Another almost $1.9 million from non-property taxes, which is the sales tax distribution from Westchester County, utilities fees, franchise fees, those kinds of things. And then various departmental type income, the fees and stuff that you charge when people use village services. The budget, the revenue budget, as you can see in the second column, was modified slightly to about $15.6 million as some additional revenue sources were thought to be generated. And so finance folks came to the board, asked you to amend the budget upwards by about $168,000. But the good news is really in the third column is that your revenues actually came in at $17.4 million. So compared to the budget estimate of $15.6 million, that's why you see in the fourth column, the variance column, a positive almost $1.8 million. You did $1.8 million better than your plan in revenues, which of course is very good news. It was primarily driven by 2 main factors. The big item, the big ticket item is on the line that says licenses and permits, where you generated $1.3 million of revenue compared to a budget of $575. Most of that had to do with the Rivertowns Sq, I guess application fees, permit fees, those kinds of things to get that project off the ground. So that was about $700,000 right there that just came right to your coffers. The other good news that also happened is actually on the property tax line on the first one, and you see that is showing better than budget also. Part of that is because, part of it is because obviously there was a tax levy, increase, this year over last year. So this revenue is actually up about $560,000 from last year. A portion of that is due to the levy increase of about 2.4%. But the rest of it, and a big chunk of it, almost half of it, about $250,000, was because the village was able to go back and collect unpaid property taxes from the prior year. And you'll see that when we get to the balance sheet that we're not allowed to have you recognize revenue for taxes until they're basically collected. So now that you collected these back taxes, that right into your income, into your coffers. So those were really the two primary drivers of why overall revenues were up about $1.5 million this year, and why you exceeded your budget estimates by about $1.7 million. Then you get to the middle of the page, and here's what you were spending the money on. It's broken down into some major categories. And more detail of all these numbers appears beginning on page 64 for a couple more pages to give you a little more detail. So this year, the good news is that you had a revised budget to spend about $14.7 million in operating money, and you only spent $14.5 million. So you spent $226,000 less than your revised budget plan. That's actually very tight. So I mean, that's a very tight, it has to be a very well-managed budget in order for that to occur. The good news, though, is the $14.5 million that you spent was only an increase of about $300,000 from the $14.2 million that was spent in the prior year on the next page. So basically, you did have some savings in the budget. A lot of the savings was in the public safety area, which is primarily the police department. Last year, you had settled some labor contracts, and those contracts had some retroactive components to pay out on those contracts. So those costs were incurred last year. So now this year, you're back to just having, essentially, the current salaries in your expense. So basically, your public safety costs were down about $400,000 from the previous year. Also, your transportation line, those costs were down about $267,000 from the prior year. And that basically is a big function of a milder winter that we had last year, less snowstorms, so less supplies, overtime, those kind of things. You did have some increases in culture and recreation, which are kind of the parks areas of your budget, up about $230,000 from the prior year. And again, this year, similar to public safety last year, you had a contract settlement, primarily with the Teamsters, had some retroactive components, so those monies, flowed through, in the current year. And then basically, you did have an increase in some employee benefit lines, particularly the police retirement line was up about $380,000 in employee benefits. I believe Jeff had done some analysis this year and figured out that some of the police officers were not in the correct tier in the retirement, as the village had been reporting into the retirement system. So to put them in the correct tier, increased some costs, and you had to get everybody classified in the proper tier. And of course, health insurance was also up about $175,000, as we're all familiar with, every year. But overall, your costs were contained to about almost a $300,000 increase over last year, basically under 2%. So when you get towards the bottom of the page, you have some transfers in, so that's money coming from one of your other funds, your debt service fund, to help offset your debt service costs. And then your transfers out are the monies going to those other funds, to fund your debt service and to fund some capital projects, some operating funds for capital projects. So the good news is when you really look at the bottom of page 62, the first two columns, you can see like the second number up from the bottom is a negative number. The first column about $1.2 million, and then the second column about $1.3 million. When you adopted your budget, you technically adopted a structurally unbalanced budget. You had a plan where you were going to spend more than you were going to take in revenues. But you said, we have fund balance, so we're going to use our savings account to balance our spending plan, because you had built up a fund balance over the prior years. So your plan was to potentially, by the time you got to the final budget, to potentially use $1.3 million of fund balance. Meaning that if everything came in exactly as you budgeted, if all the revenues came in exactly as you budgeted, and you spent every dollar that you budgeted, your fund balance would have gone down $1.3 million. But instead, when you look in the actual column, you see that not only did the fund balance not go down $1.3 million, it actually went up $677,000. So you added to your fund balance or your savings account. Again, a lot of that derived from the revenue side, from those permits and the collection of the prior year property tax. So with that $677 as an addition to your fund balance, you started the year with fund balance, as you can see, of about $3.1 million. So that means you ended the year mathematically with $3.8 million in your savings account, or in your fund balance. So if you go back to page 62, fund balance basically is a balancing tool on balancing between your assets and your liabilities. And the $3.8 million appears as the second number up from the bottom. It's the difference between your assets and your liabilities. So up top, on page 61. And so top, you can see in the top half of the page, you have assets and this is at a fixed point in time at May 31st, of $4.9 million, primarily in the form of cash, which is a good thing, it's $3.2 million in cash. And of course, your cash is all in FDIC insured, local banks that provide, in addition to FDIC coverage, provide you collateral to secure amounts for you that are in excess of FDIC coverage. So these are, really the safest things that anybody could be in. The flip side is, as I'm sure Jeff will tell you, is that the interest rates are, maybe this week they'll start going up a little, but pretty much nothing. So, although that's probably going to change a little bit this week. And then you have some other smaller receivable amounts. And then in the middle of the page, you have your liability section. And, the two numbers that I would point out in the liability section are the amounts in accrued liabilities, which are down from last year. And that had to do, as I mentioned earlier, with the retroactive settlement. Some money had been set aside in previous years to settle these contracts. And so when those contracts were settled and paid out, that money was applied against these previous liabilities. And then the good news was on that last number in that liability section, or in the subtotal there, it says deferred tax revenues of $176,000, and you can see it was $418,000 last year. That's kind of an offset to the tax receivable number that's up top as the second number down. As I said, last year, you had over $400,000 in taxes receivable that was owing the village at the close of the previous year. That got reduced by efforts that the village made to collect on delinquent taxes. Because you were able to get that number down by over almost $250,000, that went right to your fund balance. If you were able to collect this other $176,000, your fund balance would have been another $176,000. So that's the incentive to keep going after, delinquent, taxes, because obviously that benefits everybody when everybody, pays the tax. If some people are not paying, then obviously it impacts everybody else. So when you subtract the assets, $4.9 million from those liabilities of just over $1 million, that's where we get to $3.8 million of fund balance. But fund balance is broken out into, as you can see there, about 4 different pots. The detail of that, I would take you back one more time to page 53, because we couldn't fit all this information on page 51. So page 53, the first column is the general fund for this year, and a few more columns over gives you the same numbers for the general fund for last year. And there at the bottom of that first column is that $3.8 million. And that's your total fund balance. But fund balance is required to be segregated into these different pots. The first pot is up top, is something called prepaid expenditures, $82,000. So sometimes you have to pay bills prior to the end of your fiscal year that are really for something for next year. And most of this has to do with some insurance policies that kick in the new fiscal year. So we have you set this money aside because the cash is out the door because you pay these bills, but it's not an expense of the current year because it's next year's obligation. But we set it aside because the cash is gone. That's a small amount, about $82,000. Another small amount is in restricted fund balance, which is the next category. Restricted fund balance is restricted usually under something under general municipal law or some kind of state law. In your case, you only have one item for the general fund, which is a restriction for law enforcement. This has to do with some asset forfeitures or drug seizure money that the police department gets from certain cases that they work on, and then that money can only be used for certain public safety things. But it's a small amount, $13,000. Then you get to the next group of fund balance, which is assigned fund balance, and you basically have two numbers in your assigned fund balance. You have one group that subtotals to $95,000. It's called purchases on order. That's your encumbrance system. So you have some purchase orders that have to carry over. You ordered some stuff before May 31st, but it didn't quite get here yet. It was meant to be paid for out of last year's budget. So we hold that budget authority and roll this $95,000 over and increase your 16-17 budget so you can finish paying for these items, but it's only about $95,000. The next number is the $1,150,000. That's what you gave back in tax relief to balance your 16-17 budget that you're in now. So again, you have a budget for 16-17 where you expect to spend $1,150,000 more than what you're going to take in. And it's because you have a savings account to help you try to fund it. So obviously that's your target. If you can realize, just like you did this year, revenues better than you expect, a combination of revenues better than you expect and spending less than you expect, if you get to 1.1 million, your fund balance will stay the same. If you don't get to 1.1 million, your fund balance will go down. If get over 1.1 million of savings or better revenues, your fund balance will go up. So that's kind of your target line, if that makes sense. So when you take your 3.8 million total fund balance and you back out these 3 or 4 pieces that I just discussed, you are left with what's known as unassigned fund balance. Used to be called undesignated fund balance, 2.4 million. That's your free and clear fund balance to be used, obviously, for any lawful purpose. Based on your budget size of somewhere around $17 million or so, that's about a 14% fund balance. That's a very healthy fund balance position for you, to certainly be in. And it certainly improved from last year, where you ended last year with about 1.7 million in that fund balance. That's the number rating agencies look at, especially if you're looking to do, bonding for capital projects. A strong fund balance is going to hopefully help you get a better rating, on your bond issue. And obviously now, as we're in appears to be a rising interest rate environment, that will affect your bond prices. And so anything, that is positive like this will help not have that rate be as high as it could be. That is basically all I have. The numbers, I'd be glad to take any.
Jeff, any questions from you? I mean, it looks like, everything was nice and kept up to point. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I do want to compliment Jeff, Charlene, the books, certainly since Jeff's been here for about 2 years now, I think. There's really been significant improvement. We also had issued a management letter that was, not attached to the book, but it was a separate report. When I came here a few years ago, that management letter was a very voluminous, multi-page letter that I don't enjoy having to write, because it just takes a lot of time. As you can see this year, I think we just had some, some IT kind of comments where, maybe some IT procedures could be strengthened, but basically Jeff's eliminated all the comments that existed here from 2 or 3 years ago, so I do want to commend him, for the job that he did.
Yeah, no, we see it every day, and, Jeff, Charlene, you guys, done a fantastic job with managing the departments, and I think, Jeff, a lot of the ideas that you've come up with over the last couple of years have really been beneficial to the village, and really tightening what we look at and how we're looking at it, to make sure it's being managed as properly as possible. Do the trustees have any questions at all?
I had a question about, in the revenues of the miscellaneous, there's an other category that's, it's probably easiest to see on page 66. That is $157,134 to the good. That was not originally in the budget. I'm just curious what that was, whether you know it or Jeff might know.
Don't recall.
Yeah, no, I'm not, I don't.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I'm not.
It's not something that's a problem. It's more out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's a positive. I don't recall.
Find $157,000. It'd be nice to know where it came from.
I'll look at the details tomorrow.
Terrific. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else?
No, job well done by everyone. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you.
Charlene?
I would just like to add, I've not been here too long, but working with Jeff has been a pleasure, and he's a very, very good treasurer. He's done a great job.
Job well done. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
Thank you, everybody.
Nice to know that.
Okay, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Happy holidays.
Okay, on to other appointments. Charlene, you want to give a little background on this before we get into it?
The truth of the matter is, Liz told me I was supposed to be appointed as budget officer, so that's why it's on the agenda.
Thanks, Liz.
Nice job, Liz.
And that's what we do every year, and that is to say offset the treasurer. It's a different, it's a checks and balances issue.
Great, great. Okay, then I'd like to consider a motion to appoint Charlene Delicato as the budget officer for a term of 1 year to run concurrent with her position of village administrator. Do I have a motion? Trustee Cassell, trustee Corrales, any discussion? All in favor? Great, congrats.
Thanks.
Okay, courtesy of the floor. Anybody would like to come up, please state your name, address, please speak close to the mic. You'd be surprised. At home, people can't really hear the clarity. And please try and limit your comments to 3 minutes. David?
David Growling, 156 Ogden Avenue. First of all, happy holidays to everybody. Welcome to all the new trustees who haven't had the pleasure of listening to me complain much. I tried to take time off from this. I saw Rivertowns Sq was on the agenda. I thought I'd stop by. With all due respect to Mr. Berger, he had it knowing he had his party. To give people an hour's notice is a little unfair, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that at this point. But what's going on in Rivertowns Square is just, something's got to be. First of all, I haven't been down here since they put all the fun stuff on Ogden Avenue. They added a new speed hump today. The speed hump at the stop sign, which is called a raised sidewalk, is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes no sense. You're already stopping for a stop sign. You're going to take the money to put a speed hump in. Put it somewhere where it's going to slow down traffic, because that's the point of it. The new one they put in today is literally maybe 100 to 150 feet from the stop sign at Hunter's Run down towards Rivertown Square. It should be much closer to that curve, because people take that curve at 30, 40 miles an hour, and it's a very tight curve, and there are going to be accidents when it's crowded. You know, that's one issue. You know, they have their set times to do their work. It's supposed to be, I don't even know what it is, whatever it is, 7:30 to 5. They have Con Ed, they have Verizon doing work at 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, till 2 a.m. in the morning. And it's just unfair to the residents. I went outside and I said to Verizon, when they were there, or Con Ed, whichever it was, what's the emergency? Oh, they have to finish their work in time, so we got a special permit shortly. That's not fair to the residents. It's just not. Okay, they did paving on Sundays the past couple of weeks. In fact, and I know Vinny's gonna have the same problem I am with this, they paved the bottom of our driveway. So now when my snowplow comes in and destroys my driveway, am I now responsible to fix their screw up of doing the work on my driveway? That doesn't seem fair to me. They have literally, and I'll keep this short, but they put down 3 trees, 3 little trees to protect us from the sightlines. And that's just a little silly, 3 trees. There should be at least 20 or 30 trees there. I said from day one it should have been done early to prevent the noise, which was never done. Their complaint was, well, you couldn't do it and plant it in the late fall or winter. Well, guess what? That's exactly when they did it this time. They still have not cleaned up the area. It's just a mess down there. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. And if we could just get the time issues, I know we've been watching that very closely. Just make sure we stay on top of that, and I guess that goes for Con Ed and Verizon also, no?
Just to clarify also, I did speak with Lucille, who's the landscaping consultant. She did indicate there'd be more trees put up there, but we should reach out to her and see what more trees there are going to be there, because I do see there's only like 3 or 4 evergreens, but I think there's going to be more, so. And yes, I echo everything that you said. Everything you say, I totally live with, and I think that raised sidewalk is, to me, inappropriate also. Crosswalk, I should say, raised crosswalk. And maybe, I don't know, before this is all over, maybe we can have a real report on the traffic people to see what the point is of that.
Also, with respect to the work times, it really helps if you contact the village, the building department, right when these things are happening, because we can have the police go down and stop it.
They were there Sunday.
I understand.
Yeah, they were there. They were working on Sunday, you're right. They were working Sunday. Yeah, I know.
And if they come, they just leave and they come back the next, and just do it again, because there's no repercussions from anybody.
It's worth it to them.
All right, we'll make sure we look into it.
But it still would be helpful to know, you know, those days that it's happening.
I would suggest to the police department that they peruse the place.
Please use
All right, do you want to come up to anybody else for courtesy of the floor?
Stanley, I'd like to say good evening to all. I would like to congratulate Trustee Sullivan on your election to the board. Thank you for your willingness to step up and serve the community. I'm looking forward to your ideas and independent thinking. Also, congratulations to Trustee Taylor. After listening to your sentiments over the past forward to your continuing service and leadership to the village. You have proven yourself as a true dedicated leader with independent thoughts and rationale as to how you arrive at a decision, regardless of your vote on any issue. It is these qualities that give the citizens continued reason to elect you term after term. I wish all of you a successful new term. And I would just like to say that we are dealing with an issue with light trespass for Rivertowns Square. I don't know if any of you have been down there, but the lights are on. It's as if it's daytime once it gets dark. They have the upper and lower lights on. I'm not quite sure of the code. I believe it's 300-41 that talks about light trespass on another property, and that everyone has the right to a night sky, which is not the case. If you're in the driveway of the residence, you could read a newspaper. Likewise, lights are shining in the house. You don't even need lights on at this point. So we've spoken to the building department about it. They have done nothing about it. So we would appreciate if there could be a higher level to enforce the code. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And Charlene, if you could just look into
I'll
that also,
speak to
please.
Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for courtesy of the floor?
Can I just say one more thing, sorry, just one thing that I forgot to mention. On the Ogden Avenue extension, there are no lights at night. If there are gonna be people walking there, and it's just so dangerous, they have the lights up, they turn them on. There's no reason, because it's so dark in that area with the hill, and there's no reason for there not to be the lights on.
Add that to the list.
I'm adding it.
All right, thank you.
Right
Thanks,
there.
David.
And I know that we had discussed changes to the markings on Ogden at one point, and they were going to be implementing some changes, I believe, as of a month ago.
I believe they are doing many of the changes on Ogden because of the size of the bike lane. And
Yeah.
they did delineate it now, and then they also changed the middle line because it wasn't really in the middle, it was sort of.
Has that actually been changed?
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
being
yeah.
done.
It has.
That's being done.
It has. Right, but there's a bike lane that's in front of my house that's about 2 feet, not even 2 feet.
So maybe it's worth taking another look at some point at the changes they've made to see if they actually comply with what the intended plan was. And I don't know if we need to have our traffic expert go back and look at it again, or if we have already done that.
They keep doing it, and
Okay.
in fact, Trustee Cassell went on the first inspection of it
Okay,
in
good.
order to discuss, and I think
Yeah, just the raised crosswalk. I think I know people saying because it looks like a speed hump and all, I think the intention was to make the crossing a little safer. And as far as the way I see it, I don't know whether it was intended this way or not, but as we all know, people seem to have an issue with stop signs. And at least that raised crosswalk does make them stop at that stop sign. So that's the positive to it, even though it may look ridiculous.
I believe at one point or another, when all the issues are resolved and all these stripings, et cetera, we'll have Phil Greeley, our traffic engineer, come in and speak to the board to explain the differences and maybe have some pictures to show what has
idea.
been done and if, in fact, it's in compliance with the plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good idea.
thanks.
Great,
That's a great idea.
great, thanks. Okay, matters requiring action. I guess we're gonna take potential action on what we just heard. So I'd like to consider a motion to accept the financial statements and the supplementary information for fiscal year ending May 31st, 2016, the communication of internal control matters identified in the audit to those charged with governance and management, May 31st, 2016, and the Village Justice Court statement of cash receipts, cash disbursements, and cash balances for the fiscal year ending May 31st, 2016. Do I have a motion? Trustee Taylor, second trustee Cassell. Any discussion? All in favor? Good. 5 ayes.
Sure, it's fine.
What?
That's 6.
6. Oh, let me say 6 eyes, thank you. All right, going back to the audit, this is the audit that the trustees look at?
Yeah.
Jeff, right? Have any of you took a look at it again?
Yeah.
Anybody else, Larry?
I have, yes,
Great, great. Any issues?
no issues.
None.
Okay. Then I'd like to consider a motion to approve audit number 1 and audit number 2 for December 2016 as recommended by the village treasurer. Do I have a motion? Trustee Rosillo, trustee Taylor, any discussion? All in favor? Great, 6 ayes. Okay, do you want to give a little background on this one,
Oh, sure.
Charlene?
The Abbott Price, this is a final payment for the waterfront. In conjunction with Han, we looked at the work that they did. We found it somewhat wanting, praised the areas that weren't done to $23,000, and we've kept that as retainage. And in order to close out this project, we're slowly doing it, and Abbott Price is one thing that we've looked at already. There are 2 other issues that we have to resolve before we close the whole project out.
But we're completely satisfied with this piece?
Yes, I would recommend.
Okay, great.
Council
All right, so let's consider a motion to
Can I
approve.
just ask a question, Chairman? So we're doing a final payout, but we still have issues with the work? Is that what I understood?
We have a retainage of $23,000, which we use to repair what we believe needs to be repaired.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so consider a motion to approve the final payout to Abbott and Price for the Waterfront Park project for an amount of $119,316. Do I have a motion? Trustee Sullivan, second trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great, thank you. Charlene, I want to touch on this one also. This is something of a topic I think that we've discussed, with vehicles. For employees taking vehicles, their own vehicles, for
Yes.
work purposes.
Yes, and the work purposes are not to and from work. The work purposes are going up to Albany, going to meetings and coming right back. And, other than that, it's really not. I would say that the amounts are for really going up to Albany or going, maybe Cooperstown for various.
So the IRS allows a certain,
That's it. The
Dollar amount
IRS allows a
per
certain
mile.
amount. We usually have to raise it, in accordance with the IRS. We haven't raised it for a while, and really, I don't even know what portion of the budget. It's a very small amount, actually. Jeff, would you know?
It is very small. I don't have the number off the top of my head,
Yeah.
but, we're talking a couple conferences a year.
okay,
That's all we're talking about.
but more importantly, we have a policy in place. so.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, I'd like to consider a resolution establishing a fixed rate for mileage reimbursement to village officers and employees who use their personal automobiles while performing their official duties on behalf of the village at the annually approved IRS rate. Do I have a motion? Trustee Corrales, second trustee Rosillo. Any discussion? All in favor? Good. Okay, this, number 5, Charlene, you want to just bring us up to speed on this too, please?
This is another benchmark for the energy, or ability to apply for the energy grants. Nina Orville, as usual, has been very helpful in pointing us in the right direction. The permit actually is done. We're meeting Wednesday with the guy who's doing it, who we are paying $2,500, which we're getting from the grant. But what we want to do is apply for the $100,000 grant. And in order to do so, we have to have this solar permit. So Ed has been working very hard on it. It's going to be on the web, it's on our internet site, and I would recommend this very highly. In fact, Nina has been helpful, and we are looking towards getting a grant for the Embassy Center for the lights or the HVAC. She is also helping us with a grant that we are going to go forward with solar paneling for the Embassy Center. So, you know, there's a lot going on with energy.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, Nina, specifically and the Energy Task Force has really done an exceptional job
Yes.
over the years. The awards that they've won and the grants and money that they've pulled into the village have really been fantastic, certainly on the forefront, I think, in the area, so that's great. Okay, so I'd like to consider a resolution authorizing the mayor's office to complete the grant application through the streamlined permitting program to allow for the village to receive a grant award up to $2,500 for the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority for the adoption of the United Solar Permit applications. Do I have a motion? Trustee Corrales? Trustee Cassell? Discussion? All in favor? Great, 6 ayes, thank you.
All right, Darius, number 6 for Bradley Street.
Sure, the applicant actually is here. This is a matter currently before the planning board along Bradley Street for the construction of a driveway. Some of the driveway is proposed to be constructed within the right-of-way, which would include the driveway and some of the retaining walls. So in order for the planning board to even consider this application, you would have to grant this board some right to do that, whether it be a license, an easement, or something else, to allow this project to even move forward. So they're here tonight. Paul Petretti for the applicant, I believe, is here
So Paul, this is the area right here?
to present.
Good evening, Paul Petretti, representing Jessica Miller, Julian Dobson. As Dennis explained, what these people would like to do is they don't have a driveway. Okay, and I think we're all familiar with Bradley Street. It's a difficult parking situation. You know, you have the entrance to the hospital, and so to orientate everything, you have the south side of Bradley Street, we'll call it the south side, okay, is where this house is. There's no driveway. And that picture, it kind of shows you quite a lot, because what it shows you is that they have a set of stairs. They don't have a driveway, so they have a set of stairs coming down. And so they want to put a set of retaining walls in, okay, deep into the property.
Just keep speaking into the mic.
Deep into the property, so they can have a driveway. Right? So then they would have an apron. So this is where you would have the parking area, and this is the apron. And you need some low retaining walls here. So I think some of the things that have come up, okay, is about the issue of the possibility of putting a sidewalk in on that side of the property. So the interesting thing about that picture there is if you were to try and install a sidewalk on the south side, which would probably not be the best side from an engineering standpoint, because there's a lot of complications. All the poles are on the south side, and also in that picture, you're going to see that their present set of stairs, you come out, okay, right to the edge of the road. So in a way, this application, okay, if you reach this over here, and you open this up, okay, it actually removes their set of stairs, okay, from the south side. This set of stairs.
Yeah, this set of stairs here.
Yeah, so and then if you look in the picture on the right side, you're going to see that there is a sidewalk that starts down Washington Avenue and comes up past the entrance to the hospital and continues. So I think, you know, from a matter of engineering and plausibility, if you were ever to put a sidewalk, okay, on Bradley Street, you'd probably be on the north side. With that being said, you know, this actually makes it easier if you ever decided to put a sidewalk on the south side.
Well, will the driveway or any retaining walls go into the current travel way?
No, we're not.
The travel way will not change?
Oh, no, no.
Okay.
Will they affect near that speed hump? Will this interfere with the speed hump at all that's there?
No.
Okay.
The speed bump is about the division line between that property and the next one, but it wouldn't do that at all.
Okay.
I know there's some discussion at the planning board level too about the site distances, the retaining walls. How high would they be as closest to the travel way?
About a foot and a half, so I think we discussed that.
Right, yeah.
So it wouldn't have it.
That was the conclusion of it. I just want this board to.
So how much of it is on the village property?
Yeah, so what's the total square footage? Any idea, Paul, of?
Yeah, this is 21 and that's 12, okay, so you got about 240 square feet maybe.
Okay.
And it's just, are those stairs in the village right away?
Yeah, they're still, yeah.
That's ours?
We had that one at the Beacon Hill,
We've had that in
the
two
summit.
places.
Yeah.
So actually, this actually facilitates the possibility of putting a sidewalk on us if you ever went in that direction.
So Paul, just to be clear, this stairway here is village property,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's in the right of way.
Totally, okay.
Oh, so it's
The
original.
right of way is what, 50 feet there?
No, I don't know if the right of way is.
Are we
41
indemnified
required.
for that site, for that stairwell?
Well, if there's any, well, I wasn't here when it was built.
But we
It's probably
did a
built a long time
retro
ago.
on the summit, a retro indemnification of those stairs, did
I
we
don't
not?
recall that, but I don't recall the summit issue, but.
How many feet
We can
deep
look at
is
it.
the public right of way?
The breadth of it, the width of the driveway?
No, like from the street in, where it is the public right of way and,
That piece of meat.
or is it like,
How far back is it?
how far into the
Streets
property
go from anywhere
from the
from
street?
12?
It's 12 feet from the street in, that's all public property, okay.
So this
And
is-
it's the full width of the property as well? Yeah, okay.
So this is an old street in Dobbsbury, so I don't think it's a 50 feet right of way.
Maybe 33 feet
It could be, you know, it could be the old safety line.
or 41 and a quarter. 41.
I don't think it's 50 though.
So is the staircase staying?
No, no.
It goes,
So,
How do you get up to the house?
It's easier to see on the, I think on the
I
bigger plan.
can't see that.
Oh,
I can see it, but I can't see it.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's all. So this is like this is the acre, okay, and this is the walls, and these are the walls. This wall's about 5 feet high, and then it drops to 1.5 feet high. And then it has, so that's where the car's gonna park, and that's at stairs, okay, right there. It's gonna be there totally on the property.
House that's being moved.
And to be clear, the pavers end at where the street is now.
Correct.
And there's no parking on the south side of the street?
There's no, this is no parking on that side.
Okay, so there are no parking spaces on the street being lost.
I mean, knowing the area, no doubt this helps from, you know, I think, a safety standpoint in a lot of ways. It's just a matter of what we have to look at from it's our property and, you know, the indemnification and everything else.
If we want
Yeah,
to make that street wider, what do we do, you know?
Any easement would require indemnification and insurance. The question would be,
Can I,
240 square feet, what's that value? We'll check with the assessor. There'd probably have to be a payment to
yeah,
the,
but, I mean, I have a driveway that comes out to the public right away.
is it in the public right away?
Yeah, it's-
You live in Dobbs Ferry?
Yeah, because Sandy built it.
Send you a bill, yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, this is just like anybody else. If you look down the street, you're gonna see the same thing. In fact, 2 houses to the east, we did an improvement where I designed the retaining walls. Okay, and they're on the property. The guy's just, you know, this is just your access to the public street.
We'll listen to you, right?
What are you saying? I don't understand.
He said he doesn't want to pay for anything.
I know that. That I got. I'm trying to think of, it's 240 feet, that's off our property.
but isn't that the case with
That's
all
it.
driveways?
That's what Paul's saying.
Is
Yeah,
what,
but
that's
that-
what
yeah, but
Paul's
you
Is that what he's
saying?
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Not
I'm
necessarily, I mean, there might,
Is that,
I don't, I
Is
would-
that with
I
the
mean, it
case
might be
with
true
many
along the
driveways?
street, but I don't think
Yeah,
that's
these
true
old
everywhere.
streets maybe, but that's not generally how we do things.
It's a curb cut. Right? It's a curb cut into the driveway. No different than my house.
Well, I don't think it's a large amount of money anyway, the 240 square foot value.
Okay.
But we can talk about that value, and I can talk to the board about that.
And also the right of, if 10, 15 years from now, we want to widen that street.
So it'd be a non-exclusive easement.
Yeah.
We would have the right to potentially widen the road or add a sidewalk.
You own
Right. But this easement is not going to, if they consider it, is not gonna,
No, wouldn't preclude
preclude
future,
us from
yeah.
doing that. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it, but I, you know,
What's the
a lot of
timing
things I
on,
don't seem to happen anyway.
what is the timing on the, you know, you wanting to start the work and when is that supposed to take place if everything gets approved?
Well, you know, I think we'd like to start in the spring. I'm not gonna start this in February.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
When it comes out.
I mean, we have some time to vet some of
Talk
this
about
out,
it,
and
yeah.
talk about it, is my
Maybe
point.
go look at
And
the
I
site.
think it's a good
And
idea to
maybe
get
go
the
look at the
cars off
site
the street.
ourselves and
But
take a
we just
look
have
at
to-
it.
Be
also
careful.
would be helpful. I'm kind of familiar with the area, but I think a little refresher wouldn't hurt me either.
Yeah, and we didn't get any of the photographs in our packet, but I think seeing the photographs has been helpful, and I think we can
And
all
anything
see.
else that could be provided, to your point, would be
Yeah.
very helpful.
Well, as you can see, I mean, so this is at the east end of Bradley, and you're looking towards Forkland. You can see how this retaining wall is totally out of the right of way, okay? And then you have all this obstruction and.
Can we see that? Can I see that?
Yeah. So I mean, you just, this is immediately before the property, and you're gonna see how that slope is there. So I mean, the
Yeah.
possibility of putting a sidewalk, okay, to the south side of, you know, I'm taxpayer too, I don't want to put the sidewalk in, okay, on the wrong side of the street, it's basically the wrong side of the street for sidewalk.
I think would be prudent, you know, at this point, is to,
Also precedent and all that stuff. You
well,
gotta be
let's
careful.
roll this over to the next meeting, and in the meantime, if we could set up a little walkthrough of the area, that would be very helpful, I think, for the trustees, to get a better sense of, you know,
Go on your own if you want, or if you
or
want.
go on your own. but-
Yeah, it's right around the corner for me, but, and legally, what,
I can lay out some of
find
the
that
issues
stuff
for
out,
you.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't think we're against this, but we just have to be very careful
I
about the
agree.
village.
No, in theory, I
and
like the idea
villages.
of it,
Yeah,
I think it's
you
good.
know, that's not the
Villages,
point,
yeah.
you know, we just have, we gotta make
Issues.
sure that, you know,
We're
we're
covered.
protecting
We
ourselves.
wanna make sure we have
and
all the facts.
Doing the right thing for the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the first time on, so you can definitely.
Okay, why don't we do that?
Certainly, we're supportive of something that would take cars off the street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that street too.
Parking.
Well, it's safer for the residents that live there also.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know,
Tough street.
Yeah,
Yeah, January
to- Totally get it, so let's,
2007.
just get
We
the
like that
questions
picture.
answered.
Want to go ahead and just look at it, is that good enough?
Yeah, if you can leave those, maybe, do you have those pictures for us?
Yeah.
You can scan them to everyone so they can look at them.
That's good.
I can send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
that'd be
go.
great.
That'd be better.
I'll send it to you. Who do I send it?
That was me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can you just hand these down to Charlene, please? Great, thank you, Paul. All right. Okay, last but not least, this is pretty straightforward, I believe, Charlene.
Yes.
This is the HVAC for the library that we've had
Yes.
a lot of problems with over the years.
And we will continue to have problems because of the location. But as trustee Taylor requested, Ed Manley worked with Ned and to do the RFPs, and I think we got as good a deal as we can. And so we picked the lowest bidder, and that's what we recommend.
And this comes out of the library budget?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, I'll just want to say thank you for the work that Ed did and that you did. It did save the village a little bit of money, and
Yeah.
at least we
Thank
can be
you.
confident now that we're getting the best possible pricing here. So Ed's efforts and yours are very much appreciated.
And we will continue to do that because that was a very good idea.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll consider a motion to award the bid for the library HVAC to the lowest bidder, K&S HVAC, Inc., for an amount of $6,000 as recommended by Library Director Edward Canora. Do I have a motion? Trustee Taylor? Second, Trustee Nicole. Discussion? In favor? All right. All right, let's get to the minutes. These will be the minutes for November 22nd and December 5th. Anybody have anything for either? I think, Annalisa, you
I
weren't
was
here on
absent.
November 22nd.
For November 22nd, correct.
So you have a form, Nicole shouldn't vote on that either.
So we gotta wait on that
No,
one.
you have four. Were you everyone here? Was everyone
Yeah,
here?
everybody else was here.
Donna and Larry?
Yeah.
Yes,
You can
I was.
vote. You were here?
Yep,
Yep, you can vote.
So let's vote.
all right. What about December 5th? We can, well, do one at a time, or?
Either one at a time.
All right, so we'll take a motion to accept the minutes for November 22nd, 2016. Do I have a motion? Trustee Russillo, second Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Passes with 4 ayes. And then we have December 5th. Everybody was here for that, right? Anything?
One for me.
No? Okay. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes for December 5th, 2016. Do I have a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second trustee Taylor, all in favor? Great, thank you. All right, correspondence and claims. Nicole, anything, any announcements from you, anything that?
No, I'm getting my feet wet, I'm good.
You're getting your feet cold this week, it's changing. Larry?
Announcements, I would just remind people, and hopefully I'm not stealing your thunder, but the pop-up shop is running. I was able to go there last Friday afternoon. It was a lot of fun, the jazz band playing, a lot more vendors this year than last year. There's food, a lot of neighbors were there. It just was a great environment, and it was fun. So highly recommend that people check that out.
Is it one more?
Do you have the hours?
It's this weekend. The hours are on the chamber website. I think it's from 6 to 9 p.m. on Friday, and then in the afternoon and evening on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know the exact hours on top of my head. You look on the chamber website to get that. I think it may be on the village website as well.
Yeah.
And it's been in the mayor's
It's in the
announcements.
enterprise, too.
And in the enterprise? There, okay.
Great, thank you. Donna?
No.
And Lisa?
I just want to thank everyone that came to the tree lighting as well. I know we talked about it at the organizational meeting, but I just didn't get a chance to thank everyone that showed up. It was a really nice event. And it's nice to see Dobbs Ferry's downtown really getting so festive this year, and the chamber's been a big part of that, I know, this year. And, you know, everyone, please patronize the shops in Dobbs Ferry as much as you can, and let's support our local business. That's all I have.
You want to do the holiday hustle?
Go for it.
So we had the holiday hustle on Sunday. We had a very well-attended holiday hustle. Vic was there. He manned the
baby megaphone?
The megaphone, and I know Trustee Sullivan ran it. Good for her. So I'm not asking her what time she did it in, but she did it, which is unlike the rest of us. It was a great turnout. We had great weather, and I just want to thank the police, the fire, the ambulance, the DPW, everybody for volunteering, the Youth Service Council. The kids were great. All the adults were there who volunteered were great. And it seems to grow bigger and bigger every year, and especially Lisa Bai, Justin Kamke. They all did great jobs. So thank you to everyone, and thank you for coming down, Vic, and taking care of the megaphone.
It was great. You guys did a great job. It was a great turnout. You know, the cold might have kept a few people away, but we still had a great crowd that morning. So great work once again. Just a couple of announcements. I'm not sure if everybody was aware or not that in November, the Dobbs Ferry Police Department was participating in No Shave November to support cancer awareness during that month. This is the first year the department has participated in No Shave November, and it will raise funds for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. You know, you can, for those that have not donated, you can also go to the link no-shave.org/team/DFPD. Is that on the website by any chance? Do you know?
I don't know, Liz would know.
It was
Well-
in an email that was sent out from the village either
Yeah.
yesterday or today, and there's a link in it.
Okay,
So
great,
just
'cause-
sign up
Okay,
for
so
that.
it's a new link.
Because it has been extended to December 15th. So if you have not had a chance to donate to this cause, it really is a great cause. If you see our police officers are wondering why they're not undercover, you know, they're going in facial hair for awareness, which is a great thing. So great job to the police department in creating that awareness. Sorry, Melanie.
No, I just want to, is the Toys for Tots thing still going on?
Yes.
Good.
And you
When
can
is that?
bring toys to Village
To
Hall.
Village Hall and also letters to Santa.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's until what's?
Yeah, until what date?
Do you know the deadline for the Toys for Tots?
No, Liz,
Forget.
Is Liz back there?
Liz is back there. December 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank
that's,
you.
that's
So once again, Toys
new
for Tots.
unwrapped gifts.
Feel free to drop toys off here at Village Hall up till December 23rd. It's another great cause, and Liz, great job with that.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Liz.
one other comment as it relates to the Toys for Tots, that, well, there's, I think, a web link that you can use to give cash if you don't have time to do the shopping. The other thing that many of us could do is just go to Amazon or whatever web vendor you use, and you can buy some toys and have them shipped to Liz at the offices here, as opposed to having to fight the malls and go to Toys R Us or whatever else with an extra trip. So it's as easy as a few clicks on your computer to be able to do something that will make a child's holiday much better.
Great, thank you, Larry. Another announcement, another important thing and another great thing that we do every year is the Senior Citizens Holiday Party, which is Tuesday, December 20th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Main Street Firehouse. A slight cost, just the cost of the lunch of $3. To register, call the Nutrition Center at 231-8529 weekdays between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. or call our rec department at 693-5505. Another great event. They're accepting donations for toys for kids ages 7 to 15 to be given for Toys for Tots and canned goods for the local pantry. So please bring a can, some food, some toys, and it really is a great celebration day. We also have coming up on December 28th at 7 p.m. at the corner of Cedar and Main Street, the menorah lighting, which Hartley gets all excited when he's here about that because he dances with the rabbi, I guess, every year, does some singing. But it's a great event, so please come down December 28th, 7 p.m. For the menorah lighting. And Larry, I think you mentioned it earlier, or who brought up the tree lighting, or was you, Annalisa? Really a nice turnout for that too. The singing and music that went on was really fantastic.
I have one other thing. The library had their sale last weekend, and that was also seemed very well attended, and they seemed to have raised some good funds by selling books for $1 and jewelry, so that was a great event as well.
And good news, as Charlene informed me today, and great job helping steward some of this, Charlene. The Embassy Center, they'll begin work this Wednesday.
Yes.
So tomorrow?
Yep.
Great. Tomorrow, and they expect to have the work done by the end of January, which will allow the Embassy Club to open, but it will also allow work to begin in the Embassy Center itself, that I know the rec committee and everybody's really looking at closely on new designs and how we can more efficiently use that space. And we really want to get the seniors back in there as soon as possible also. It's been their home for quite a while, and hopefully we can get that done and they have a beautiful new space to come into. And once again, Jeff, I just want to say great job on the budget. You guys, Charlene, you guys did a fantastic job once again, saving him a lot of time, it sounds like. So he seemed pretty happy also. All right, with that being said, I wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holiday Season, safe and happy for all. And if no other business, the meeting will come to an end. Okay, thank you.